In a world fixated on effort, struggle, and achievement, the notion of not trying feels almost alien. Yet, Lao presents us with Wu Wei, a concept that challenges our ingrained beliefs. Often translated as non-action, this term can be misleading. It doesn't imply doing nothing. Instead, it signifies a profound alignment with the natural flow of life, where actions unfold effortlessly. Picture a gifted musician immersed in their art, or an athlete in a seamless state of flow. They don't force their movements, they yield to the rhythm of the moment. This embodies the essence of Wu Wei, acting in perfect harmony with the Tao, the fundamental force of the universe. Society venerates relentless effort, teaching us that success is born from struggle, from pushing harder and exerting control. Yet, have you ever noticed how the more you try to force something, the more it slips away? The harder you attempt to fall asleep, the more awake you feel. The more you chase happiness, the more it eludes you. Wu Wei offers a different perspective, one that values ease over strain, allowing over forcing, and flow over resistance. It reveals the paradox of achieving more by striving less. Wu Wei is not about passivity or laziness. It is about a deeper mastery. Think of a skilled martial artist. Rather than rigidly overpowering their opponent, they yield, redirecting energy with grace and minimal effort. In a world that often feels heavy with expectation, this gentle approach can feel like a bittersweet reminder of what we might be missing. A river does not struggle against the rocks that obstruct its flow. It gently navigates around them, slowly reshaping the landscape. This reflects nature's wisdom, actions that arise naturally, perfectly attuned to the circumstances. We often cling to the belief that control is the path to success. Yet, what if surrendering that control is the true answer? The most brilliant ideas often surface when we cease to force them. The deepest solutions come forth when we allow ourselves to relax and trust the unfolding process. Wu Wei teaches that when we align our actions with the natural order, everything can fall into place with a haunting ease. It's about surrendering to the current of life rather than battling against it. The most remarkable leaders, artists, and thinkers embody this principle, moving with a grace that seems almost otherworldly. They do not impose their will with harshness. Instead, they adapt and flow with a quiet strength. Yet, in our modern world, we are conditioned to equate effort with value. Work harder, push through, never give up. These relentless mantras are ingrained in us from childhood. While determination has its merits, relentless effort often leads to exhaustion, despair, and inefficiency. Wu Wei presents a poignant alternative. What if we shifted our focus from doing more to doing what is truly necessary with grace? Think of those high achievers who seem to navigate their tasks with ease. A master chef doesn't fret over every slice. They move with a fluidity that belies the pressure. A great teacher doesn't rigidly impose knowledge. They cultivate an atmosphere where learning can blossom naturally. The most successful entrepreneurs, rather than micromanaging, recognize the importance of stepping back and allowing things to evolve in their own time. In this world, where the weight of expectation often feels unbearable, perhaps the greatest wisdom lies in the gentle art of letting go. This is the essence of Wu Wei, understanding when to take action, when to pause, and when to simply let things be. Nature exemplifies Wu Wei in its purest form. Birds don't struggle to soar. They unfurl their wings and allow the wind to guide them. Trees don't resist the changing seasons. They adapt, letting go of their leaves in autumn and blossoming in spring. Nature flourishes not through force, but through a delicate balance. What if we could embrace this way of living? When we cease our battles against the natural order, life feels a little less burdensome. We make wiser choices, free from the chains of desperation and fear. Stress diminishes as we release our grip on rigid expectations. Creativity flourishes as inspiration flows effortlessly, rather than being coerced. If only we could live in this manner. When we stop resisting the natural flow, life could feel lighter. We could make better choices, unshackled from anxiety. We could find peace in the absence of strict demands. Wu Wei invites us to embrace a sense of ease, to trust that life will unfold as it is meant to. It doesn't mean giving up on our dreams or ambitions. Rather, it encourages us to pursue them with grace. It's about knowing when to push ahead and when to step back. Most importantly, it's about recognizing that sometimes the greatest strength lies in surrendering to the effortless rhythm of existence. Yet, as humans, we often cling to the illusion of control, yearning to shape life to our will. We carefully plan, strategize, and strive to mold reality to align with our hopes. Yet, Lao reminds us that the notion of control is merely an illusion. Despite our best efforts to foresee or manipulate the future, life remains a tapestry of unpredictability. The harder we cling to control, the more it slips away, like grains of sand through our fingers. Think about how we navigate relationships, careers, or our own personal growth. We impose strict expectations, convinced that forcing outcomes will lead to success. But have you ever noticed that the more we try to control others, the more we encounter resistance? The tighter we grasp at desired outcomes, the more stress and disappointment we invite into our lives. Letting go doesn't equate to shirking responsibility. It's about acknowledging what lies beyond our grasp and learning to flow with, rather than against, the currents of life. Imagine a sailor battling against the wind, desperately trying to push their boat forward through sheer will. Now envision another sailor adjusting their sails, harnessing the wind to propel them forward. The second sailor embodies the wisdom of surrender, collaborating with the forces around them. This is the essence of Wei, in relation to control, understanding when to loosen our hold and allow life to unfold naturally. LSU teaches that true peace arises from accepting things as they are. This doesn't imply passivity. Rather, it encourages us to move in harmony with life instead of exhausting ourselves in a futile struggle against it. The less we resist, the less suffering we inflict upon ourselves. The more we surrender to the present moment, the clearer our path becomes, yet shadows linger just beyond our sight. How can we weave this unsettling wisdom into the fabric of our daily lives? In relationships, letting go transforms into a haunting acceptance of others' true selves, relinquishing the desperate need to control their every move. In our work, it means honing in on what we can influence while surrendering to the dark uncertainty of outcomes. When faced with personal trials, it requires embracing setbacks as sinister companions on the road to growth, rather than resisting the inevitable changes that loom ahead. The most profound revelations often emerge when we cease our frantic attempts to impose solutions and allow insights to creep in like whispers in the night. The most formidable leaders, artists, and thinkers grasp this unsettling truth. They do not suffocate every detail with their grasping hands, but instead trust in the eerie dance of timing and adaptability. Letting go invites a chilling peace and a haunting effectiveness into our lives. Uncertainty is a specter that we cannot escape, yet we squander so much energy in our futile attempts to evade it. What if, instead, we embrace the unknown with open arms? The most thrilling adventures, the most profound discoveries, and the deepest joys often arise from the shadows of unexpected twists. Lao's wisdom teaches us that when we release our grip on control, we become like water, fluid, adaptable, and eerily at peace with whatever darkness may come. Letting go is not surrendering. It is about trusting the relentless flow of life, even when it leads us into the abyss. In that trust, we uncover a haunting freedom. Water, often perceived as the gentlest of elements, also harbors an untamed power. Lao, in his profound teachings, draws a chilling parallel to the essence of letting go. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about trusting the flow of life. Water is frequently regarded as the gentlest and most yielding of elements, yet it possesses an undeniable strength. Lao, in his deep wisdom, likens the Tao to a river that flows with ease, adapting to its surroundings without resistance. When water meets an obstacle, it doesn't confront it head-on. Instead, it gracefully flows around it, adjusting its course and continuing onward. This principle of adaptability is at the heart of Taoism, imparting a poignant lesson about resilience. In a world that often glorifies brute strength and dominance, the Tao invites us to rethink this mindset. We are conditioned to believe that true power comes from relentless force, that the more rigid and unyielding we are, the stronger we appear. Yet, the Tao unveils a bittersweet truth. Genuine strength resides in our ability to adapt, to bend, and flow with the currents of life rather than struggle against them. Lauder, we too must learn to navigate life's challenges with a sense of grace, even as we face the inevitable hardships that come our way. Instead of resisting change, we can learn to embrace it, understanding that flexibility and resilience are intertwined. Just as water finds its path through the narrowest of crevices, we too can strive to move through life with a sense of fluidity, adjusting our direction when needed while trying to maintain our course. In our relationships, careers, and personal journeys, the idea of going with the flow is often misinterpreted. It is not about being passive or inactive, but rather about responding to life's trials with awareness and intelligence. Yet, in this struggle to adapt, we often find ourselves longing for the strength we believe we lack, feeling the weight of our own resistance. When we try to impose our will on situations, we become inflexible and struggle to adapt to the natural progression of events. The Tao teaches us that genuine resilience is found not in resisting the current, but in flowing with it. By surrendering to life's inherent rhythm, we can face challenges with greater ease and less resistance. Consider a river. It is always in motion, constantly adjusting, yet it never forces its way through. It doesn't halt when it meets an obstacle, nor does it frantically attempt to push past. Instead, it adapts, seeking the path of least resistance. In this way, Taoism conveys that life doesn't necessitate struggle. It asks us to trust in the natural flow, align ourselves with the unfolding of events, and respond with the same grace and strength as water. In our fast-paced society, success is often linked to relentless effort, constant hustle, and the accumulation of accomplishments. We are conditioned to think that the more we push, the greater the rewards. However, Lao's wisdom challenges this notion. He teaches us that sometimes achieving more comes from doing less rather than striving harder. The principle of Wu Wei, or effortless action, reminds us that by releasing the need to control every outcome, we allow ourselves to embrace the natural flow of opportunities. The paradox here is haunting. When we cease our relentless struggle and instead surrender to the dark rhythm of existence, success creeps in more effortlessly, almost as if it were waiting in the shadows. The essence of this unsettling truth lies in severing our ties to outcomes. When we become consumed by the desire for results, we descend into a pit of anxiety and dread, often leading to a soul-crushing exhaustion. By shifting our focus to the process and acting with intent, yet without the suffocating grip of desperation, we allow our efforts to intertwine with the sinister currents of life. This fixation on results can warp our minds, ensnaring us in a web of fear that drains our spirit. Instead, by embracing the journey and moving with purpose, we can navigate the darkness without the weight of expectation dragging us down. Many of history's most enigmatic figures, artists, inventors, and leaders, unwittingly embodied this principle, channeling their passions without the relentless pursuit of control. They let their creativity flow like a shadowy river, leading to breakthroughs that seem to emerge from the abyss. Wei does not dismiss the necessity of hard work. It merely advocates for a more balanced, sustainable approach that acknowledges the lurking chaos. When we relinquish our need to dominate every aspect and begin to trust the process, we become more attuned to the whispers of our inner wisdom, even as the darkness looms. The essence of true success lies in acting from a place of calmness and ease rather than from desperation and struggle. The real paradox is that by doing less, we can accomplish more, not because we exert more effort, but because we learn to work smarter in alignment with the natural flow of life. The teachings of Lao and Taoist philosophy remind us that life is not a contest to be won, but a flow to be embraced. The practice of Wu Wei, or the art of not trying, involves aligning ourselves with the natural order of things, trusting that we don't need to force every outcome. By releasing the need for control, being adaptable like water, and recognizing that genuine success stems from effortless action rather than excessive effort, we open ourselves to a more profound and harmonious way of living. The beauty of Taoism is found in its simplicity. By doing less, we discover more. By trusting the process, we uncover a life filled with meaning, purpose, and joy. The journey to true resilience, success, and peace is not about battling against the world, but about flowing with it. So, when life feels overwhelming, remember the wisdom of water. Go with the flow, trust the journey, and let success unfold naturally.